All right, back here on the White House Brief channel on iHeartRadio and online at allpoliticsradio.com, bringing the day's biggest political news and so much more. And believe me, this is not that political, but it's just fun, really. And we have some very attractive pictures of this woman on our blog at allpoliticsradio.com and on our Facebook fan page. Go there, facebook.com, and search for the White House Brief. But let me dive into this because Rielle Hunter, the ex-mistress, as we'll call her, and baby mama for John Edwards, the former vice presidential candidate, a guy who is this close to becoming president of the United States, who has a little baby now, and it's all been exposed, it's all been put out there, and I'm just going to read you from the Washington Post copy, because she went out, she did a photo shoot, she did a whole bunch of crap for GQ. She decided to talk on the record, an almost 10,000-word Q&A that they had. I'm going to give you some of the best stuff from that in a second, but I just want to read you the Washington Post write-up on this. I think they did a pretty good job here. For more than 2 years after Rielle Hunter emerged at the center of the John Edwards love child scandal, the former campaign videographer, that's what she was hired as initially, kept quiet while Edwards denied fathering her daughter before acknowledging it, while Elizabeth Edwards wrote a book describing her as an aggressive homewrecker, while a campaign aide, Andrew Young, wrote one describing her as a loony, needy, loose cannon. That's not Elizabeth Edwards. That's the other one. Yeah, that's exactly. That's Rielle Hunter. Yeah, exactly. You had to pick one of them. Now, though, she's talking in an extensive new GQ interview obtained by the Post. It's a doozy, and everybody else has it now. White House Brief included in that. And like I said, there's some pretty sexy photos of her, just sort of like looking a little, a little scandalous, a little bit. She's got a white button-down shirt. Just go to our blog, allpoliticsradio.com. You can see all the photos there. Fantastic stuff. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty interesting. Going into the GQ piece, I mean, you can read the whole thing. We have it linked there as well, right underneath the photographs. But, there was just a few questions here that really stuck out to me, and GQ sort of prioritized it off the top. We, of course, went way beyond their prioritization and found our own. But the first question that I found pretty interesting here, how hard was it to keep quiet? And she says, at times very difficult. It's been 4 years. It's hard to know that people are out there speaking over and over and over again untruths, lies, consciously going out there and spinning the truth, using me and Johnny, that's what she called him, and our relationship to make themselves look better, to play victim or to get money. That rubs me the wrong way in every way possible. Apparently, Edwards didn't rub her the wrong way. By the way, do you always call him Johnny? This is a question from the GQ editor. She laughed. She goes, isn't that funny? When I first met him, the first week of our relationship, I said to him, for some reason, I cannot call you John. It doesn't come out. Can I call you Johnny? That's the first red flag, by the way, gentlemen out there. Never let a woman change your name. And he said, that's my name, and I didn't know that, but that's his actual birth name. Yes, it's Johnny Reed is his actual name, folks. Johnny Reed, not John Edwards. And then she was asked, is he okay with you doing this interview? She says he was very supportive of me talking now. He believes that it's something that will help me be at peace with it, and he knows how important truth is to me, factual truth as well as spiritual truth. Okay, so she gets into the spiritual stuff. She believes in signs and, like the reading the astrological stuff, and she's really into that. So that was some of the stuff right off the top here. And then the other interesting parable that comes here, and like I said, you can read this for yourself on our blog, allpoliticsradio.com, but talking about Elizabeth Edwards, how did she feel about the affair? Do you know? And or I'm sorry, how did she find out about the affair? Obviously, she didn't feel too good about the affair. But how did she find out about the affair? Do you know? And she goes, I do know, interestingly enough, and what's out there is not true. What was written in her book, Resilience, was factually incorrect. So how did she find out? I had purchased a phone for Johnny, a black Razor that looked exactly like his work phone. Another red flag, gentlemen. Another red flag. So he would be able to talk to me while, people would think he was talking on his work phone because it looked the same. Correct. And he had called me December 30th to fuss at me. He was upset at me and Elizabeth, and then she was interrupted. What was he upset about? He was upset that I had come to Chapel Hill on the announcement tour in her capacity as campaign videographer because he thought it was a bad idea for Elizabeth to see me because if she saw me, she would suspect what was happening. And she did. Yes, she did. And so he was upset with me, and she came into the room or heard her coming, so he hung up the phone abruptly, and he left the phone there. Together, and he told me that the next morning Elizabeth was, thinking, what was he doing up there? I'll bet he was talking on the phone to her. So he called his cell phone and heard it ringing. when he looked for his cell phone, I'm sorry, she called his cell phone, and he found the other phone, our phone, next to his cell phone. She picked it up, and the phone was me. And then she answered. Rielle Hunter answered Elizabeth Edwards, who picked up John Edwards' phone, saying, I mean, it's the worst description of it ever.
It's almost like a tiger thing going on.
Yeah, exactly.
There.
It was crazy. So Elizabeth Edwards picks it up off his nightstand, goes, hello, and she answers, hey, baby.
Oh.
And then she hears click.
Oh, no.
Fail,
John Edwards.
Oh, God, was
Thank
the
goodness
next question.
This person wasn't president of the United States.
And then
He's an idiot.
and then she confronted me, I confronted him, and he finally confessed. He didn't confess like she claims in her book. You know that he came in on December 30th and confessed that it was the one-night stand. The whole one-night stand thing is not true, obviously. Rielle Hunter goes on to say, they were in love. But let me tell you, folks, they met the first time they met. They had sex. I mean, that was just a whole nother part of this, folks. So the Rielle Hunter saga continues. Like I said, some good photos of her on our blog at allpoliticsradio.com. If you want the Paul Westcott assessment, just quickly here, she is psycho. I think Elizabeth Edwards is a little crazy as well, but this woman is psycho talk. She's crazy, Ed. Don't you agree with me? Okay. For those of you who listen to our regular show, check it out online at allpoliticsradio.com. We are on the BlackBerry, the iPhone, and the Droid on iHeartRadio. Check it out, please. Berkeley Wilson, I'm Paul Westcott. We'll see you later.
When does it stop? It's like a ring in a bell. Go, go.